everyone, welcome to a quick chat. So I was planning on just making a quick little short video talking about Love Island and its popularity, but I ended up blabbing on longer than I thought I would. So I'm just going to turn this into an actual quick chat, so just giving you an introduction here. Talking about Love Island, the popularity that we've seen in the US series this year, and is it kind of are we seeing what already has happened in the UK series in terms of it being such a massive show and that affecting what we see on the screen now in terms of contestants, in terms of how people approach things and like that, because they know that this is going to get out to a lot of people. So yeah, go ahead and watch that quick chat. I think it's one of my longer quick chats because again, I think I blabbed a lot. I probably could cut some of it out, but I'm going to just leave it as it was and kind of my thoughts on the whole thing. But enough of my blab now. Let's get to the actual chatting about the whole thing. We have now come to that moment in Love Island that all Love Island fans dread. Obviously, Love Island USA Season 6 blew up massively last summer, and that's great because it's new fans watching the show, new engagement, more engagement, all these things. It's more people to talk to about it. Everybody now is watching Love Island. Even in series 6 last summer, it was progressively going up and up and up. People were watching more and more, and now Series 7, a lot of people jumped on right away because they're such fans of Series 6 rather than clicking on halfway through the series. And like I said, that's great. We're happy to have more people, but when it comes to that, when a show gets really popular, oftentimes the contestants who want to come on the show maybe have less genuine of reasons to come on the show versus some people who maybe were on in those early iterations. And that's where I think we're kind of at the point with Love Island USA Series 7 now. And anybody could have predicted this were to happen. I mean, a lot of people were trying to say please be careful, not have too many influencers on, things like that, because you see how successful the Love Island Series 6 contestants have been post-show. It's okay, well, obviously other people are going to want that. But you're still trying to find those genuine connections, those genuine people who come on, for love and things like that, even though it kind of sounds crazy because it's you're coming on a reality TV show. Obviously, there has to be a little bit of an agenda there, which depends how much. I think back to the original Love Island UK, which is airing right now. It's in its 12th series. That's been on since 2015, even really before then, but really 2015 in this kind of new iteration. Series 1 was fine. Series 2 got a little bit more buzz. Series 3, which was in 2017, was when more people were kind of talking about it more and more. I kind of relate Series 3 now in terms of what was going on in terms of engagement and things like that to kind of how Series 5 was for Love Island USA. More people watching it a little bit, but it still wasn't completely cracked into the space. And then in the original Love Island, which is in the UK, Series 4 of Love Island in 2018 is where it was really a cultural phenomenon, and everyone was watching. It was this huge thing. I'm Loyal Babe. Think about Georgia from that series. A whole bunch of people, and people were talking about that series, watching that series. It was very, very big. And that's kind of what happened in Series 6 in Love Island USA. It had been going on for a while. The show had been here. It wasn't it was a brand first series of a show. It had been on for X amount of years. And it blew up. And because of that, Series 4 was massive in Love Island UK, and that kind of was, I would consider it to kind of be the one that kind of pushed it into the everybody's watching Love Island, talking about Love Island. And now Series 6 in the USA was the big one, and now everyone's talking about Love Island. So what ended up happening was Series 5 of Love Island UK was one of the biggest series out there. And at the time, that came out in 2019, very, very big. A lot of people who've never even watched Love Island before know some of the characters from Series 5 because they've been so successful post-show. That series had Amber ended up being the winner that year. Molly May and Tommy were on that season. Anna and Jordan, the whole yelling situation happened. Maura was in that season. Curtis was in that season. Ovi was in that season. You can name a whole bunch of people from Series 5. Even if you've never seen Love Island before, you've probably seen videos of one of those people going around social media, or people doing throwbacks of oh, my favorite series, or the series I began watching, whatever it was. And Series 5 in Love Island UK was really because of that. And part of that too, in terms of social media presence at the time, people were able to get a massive surge of following and things like that from being on that series, even for a short while. They were able to do well because everybody was watching Love Island Series 5 in 2019. And now we're seeing that with Love Island USA. Again, it's different than how it was for Series 6. I feel everyone's still very successful from that series, but it was progressively getting bigger as the show was continuing to air. One thing I like about Love Island so much is because it's basically airing live in a sense. Like they filmed the episode 2-3 days, 1 or 2-3 days, whatever, before we see it. So it's not like something we're watching from 3 months before, where it's like some old thing, but it's like we're watching it happen live almost. We can vote and influence things in the villa, those kind of things, which is always nice. But as it kept getting popular, more things would come out on TikTok or social media, whatever like that. People would like be clicking into the series, and maybe not even going back, but just starting like in the middle of the show, whatever it was, and that's fine. I think, you know, again, with a show like Love Island that's happening basically live, like it's fine to happen at any point. Obviously, it helps when you watch from the beginning, because you have more of the backstory, but whatever. And then Series 7, I've seen things talking about how like Love Island USA has had like these billions of engagement, like the most viewership for like a premiere, and like the most like first 48 hours of the show, whatever, like all these like stats coming up about how big it's been. We've seen Jalen come out of Love Island recently, and he has like 1.5 million followers on TikTok. He got that within like a day, because everyone is again flooding the zone basically, and like watching and engaging with people who come off the show right away. Someone like Jalen as well. I feel like such a likable guy. He was only there for a couple days, but he seems like such a nice Southern gentleman. So with that, as I was kind of getting to, comes a change in sometimes the people you can get, because beforehand, which again, you're still signing up for a reality TV series, so there still has to be some level of, oh, this is a chance to be on TV. I understand that, but when there's more popularity, there's obviously going to be more applications. There's going to be more people who are thinking more long term, like, how can I make this a career move? I don't think anything's necessarily wrong with that. I'm happy for people to like admit that that was like what they were thinking about when they were originally signing up for the show. But with that comes, oftentimes we get more and more influencers and things like that who come onto the series. Love Island Series 5, in the UK, there were a couple people on like that who were kind of that type. I remember there was a lot of discussion about Molly May maybe having that. She was a content creator before she even came in the series, and I think to some level, some people didn't vote for her to win because they were thinking about, was she actually genuine about it? She's come out later and said that her original thought for coming on the show was, yeah, it's a good opportunity for my career, and I just happened to find like the love of my life on there, which is great. Happy for her, for that. They're still together and things. And honestly, since then, it's been progressively, as the series have gone on, because again, it's gotten so big and continues to get big, that more and more influencer types are the ones who sign up for the series. And that's what we've seen over there consistently. There's still some people who aren't in that world at all, really, but more often than not, there's people who are that way, especially I feel like among the women, but the boys as well. But obviously, it's a little bit. Some people say it's harder for boys to be influencers and some of those kind of things. Whatever. But that's really just the truth of it. And I feel like we're in that stage, kind of like where Love Island USA is like going to get to. I feel like we have some influencer types in the Love Island USA villa right now in Series 7. But also I bring this up to talk about, because there's been discussion about like, it's feeling more like gamesmanship right now out of some of the Love Island USA fans. Tonight we have Casa Amor starting. It'll be episode 19 of Love Island USA tonight. And at this point, Casa Amor in every single Love Island series that there has been, literally ever, I don't think I can think of one where there really hasn't, where it's been like this. There's usually at this point of Casa Amor. And to be fair, Love Island USA, Casa Amor is a little bit sooner than like the Love Island does in the UK, because the series is only 6 weeks here versus in the UK it's 8. So it comes a little bit quicker than for some series. But usually by this point, there's at least 1 or 2 couples who are like solid, and it's like, are they going to stay true? Or are they going to like, like not mess around in Casa Amor? Are they going to come back to each other? Now in this series, we have 6 boys, 5 girls. 5 boys, 6 girls. Now I could see almost every single one of those people recoupling with someone, or I can honestly root for every single one of them maybe recoupling with someone, because even some people would say like, oh, Landry and Taylor are like more locked in. It's like, I guess like they seem to be, but I don't think Taylor's actually genuine about his feelings for Landry. I don't really trust that he actually will stay around, will stick around and be like loyal, because I feel like he's looking for something else. I feel like he's not really being very honest with himself. Now Landry on the other hand might be thinking about the dreams that Taylor's been selling her, and she might not go somewhere, but there's that. But I still root for her to find someone else. I think Shelly and Ace, they're nice together, but I feel like Shelly can do better than him. And also there's been some conversations, particularly about Ace and about the whole like Jeremiah vote, and yeah, it wasn't his complete decision, but he's obviously had a lot to say about Jeremiah and Huda and that whole situation kind of consistently, even though it's been kind of over. They've continued to talk about it even just before the vote was revealed in last night's episode. I've heard about some of the contestants now having like professional content creator agencies or whatever, like handling their social media, which, I mean, fair play to them. I feel like if you're going to be in a show as big as Love Island, and especially these people know now that Love Island USA Series 6 was massive, so you know if I'm coming on this series, I'm going to have like a bunch of viewership and engagement right off the bat. So I'm not mad at someone for like preparing well and getting someone to do well in terms of like getting their pages like the most whatever kind of engagement you can get from having like good social media strategy, things like that. I'm not mad at it. But again, you see how this would have never been a thing before, like a couple years ago. Where you think about Love Island, I remember how big of a deal it was for people to be like, oh, we have a Love Islander who has 1 million followers, and now we've had past that. We have like people with 2, 3, 4 million followers from Love Island USA Series 6, and I just mentioned Jalen, who was only on the series for a couple days, has 1.5 million followers. I can't even imagine what it's going to be like when some bigger names from this series so far, like Huda or Shelly or Alandra or even Jeremiah, who just got dumped, how it's going to be for them when they get out in terms of how many people are going to like want to follow them instantly, things like that. But again, to the point of this whole video was basically talk about how this is what kind of happens with Love Island, as we've seen in the past when the series gets so big. Naturally, there's more people who come on the show with more. I don't think it necessarily like we've had people come on. Well, I guess yeah, who come on like with gameship in their mind, like how can I win? But I do certainly think, I guess to some level though, because you want to stay as long as you can, because you know staying as long as you can is going to give you more fans. People will be able to see more of you, things like that. You'll be in people's mind more. You have discussions about yourself more among people like watching, because you're going to be on more episodes. Versus if you come in and you're only there for a day or two, it's like, well, we're going to remember you, but we're going to move, by the time the series is over, we're going to completely forget all about you. So I do think there's that element, and then also tied with that, it's like the longer I stay on, the better I have the chance to do outside of the villa and like with endorsements and things like that, whatever. And that's the point we're at. I don't think everyone in there right now is like that, and even still, like in Love Island UK, I don't think everybody over there who's in it currently or has been in the past couple seasons has been like thinking about, okay, how can I maximize off this opportunity? But I do certainly think that the bigger the show gets, when you're signing up for Love Island, you know what you're signing up for. You know you're signing up to be on the biggest show in the UK. You know you're signing up to be on the biggest show in the, I don't know if it's the biggest show in the USA yet, but obviously it's feeling like that to some level, because again, from someone who's been watching Love Island for a long time, I've watched Love Island USA since I started watching Love Island USA live on in series 2, which was Justine won that series, and Shelly was on that series, and there was a whole bunch of good stuff that series. That's the first season I started watching live for USA, as it was airing, series 2. People come out of there and you're just like, oh, you get 100,000 followers on Instagram, maybe, things like that. That was about the standard. If you got 100,000, you're lucky. If you got more than 100,000, 200,000, oh, it's amazing. And now it continues to climb and climb and climb. It's going to probably continue to be that way. But I think some people are sensing, some people who have been Love Island watchers for a while are sensing that it's a little bit different. Like, where are the connections? Again, Casting Moore's around the corner. There's not really that many connections to test, it feels like. Nick and Sierra might have been people would have thought about, but they just had a conversation where they slept together, but Nick's like, I'm still open. So Sierra's going to be thinking about that going into Casa More, like, okay, well, I'm going to be open, even though she's obviously feeling strongly for Nick and things like that. I think Shelly and Alandria, I'm interested to see how they will move and what they will do. And same with Taylor and Ace on the flip side of it. But yeah, there's thinking about, like, what connections are there to really test? It's Love Island, but you can't even really point to one couple you can say, like, okay, I can see them lasting to the end. I can't pick not a one couple in there right now, which is crazy to say when we're about to hit Casa More tonight. So yeah, those are my thoughts. If you've been a Love Island watcher, even if you're a new Love Island watcher, have you been sensing anything like this in terms of like what you expected the show to be? Do you feel like there's like hidden agendas or about people maybe trying to come onto the series and make sure they and stay the longest, make sure they stay elevated, make sure they can make it, to the final, win the show, things like that. Thinking about how they can be social media stars after this. We've obviously already had some people who already live in LA now and are already doing things like Ace, he's a dance teacher online and things like that, and lives in LA, and like Jeremiah lives in LA. There's some people who've moved to LA already and have been there for. It's not like they just moved this summer, but again, this is just something you think about when you watch Love Island. It's a sad moment to happen. It doesn't mean like the UK series is still amazing. Like right now, I said it's in series 12. It's still really, really great. And I think a lot of people have gotten used to the fact that you're going to have a bunch of influencers on there, a bunch of people who've basically prepped themselves to get onto Love Island in certain ways. It's still a very enjoyable series, but it's more so we're knowledgeable of how big the show is, obviously. So we're knowledgeable of like the kind of people who can get signed up for that and can go on that. And we're going to get to that point sometime in the USA. So it's trickling in a little bit now. It probably will continue to happen as we go on here, as more series come out. But yeah, I've been rambling for a while now. Let me know your thoughts on the whole thing, on the popularity of Love Island and how that can sometimes mess up the show in some effects. But I feel like it'll be okay overall. Like I said, even Series 7 now, it's quite different than what I've watched, but it's still a very good series up to this point. I'm really interested to see how Casamore goes, and especially because I don't think there's anybody really solid in there at this time to see what that looks like. Is everyone going to bring someone back? That'd be crazy. We need to get a lot more beds. Yeah, we'll just see. And even, I keep going, but even, again, an opportunity, they dumped 2 people who had connections in there. Pepe, and, well, they dumped Iris, they dumped Hannah, who had Pepe. They dumped Jeremiah, who's getting to know Andrina. So likely Andrina and Pepe already right away are going to be bringing people back. Austin and Maya aren't really getting on. They're going to bring people back. And the people who are safe, any one of them I think could bring someone back. We'll just have to figure out what's... Even Iris and TJ. Iris was vulnerable. She's going to bring someone back. She's got to know TJ. Well, I'm interested to see how it happens with everyone else. But yeah, enough for me. Let me know your thoughts about the popularity of Love Island now and how that's kind of affecting what you're seeing in the villa now. If any of you guys, like me, have seen other Love Island iterations, I just focused on Love Island, the original in the UK, and seeing how that switch happened. But if you've seen if you want to talk about other series, like how maybe some of those switches have happened in terms of the popularity, changing, like how the contestants that come on the show, things like that, let me know. But yeah, talk to you guys later when we do the Love Island recap tonight.